Hello and welcome back to Homeschool Together. Today we're talking about the All About Reading pre-reading curriculum. This is perfect for a 3, 4, or 5-year-old child. We're going to be doing letter recognition, early phonics, stories, games, crafts. You got a little bit of everything. This is kind of perfect for a family who's looking for a little bit of structure, a little bit of guidance, a little bit of help as they begin to teach those early reading skills to their young ones. The whole curriculum here, a little bit of cards, a couple books, a couple readers, all about $120, or you can get them piecemeal on the All About Reading website. Inside, you're going to get 78 lessons. You're going to be able to have the teacher's manual, which is going to guide you through every single step. You're going to get the student packet that's going to be perfect for the activities. I think this is a good curriculum for a family who's looking for a little bit of guidance, who's looking for a little bit of help and a little bit of structure. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. So let's go ahead and take a look. My goodness, there's not enough here. Let's start bringing things in. Teacher's manual is what you get. You also get your My Book of Letter Craft book. There's also some additional materials here that you get with the curriculum, helping you kind of go along with the reading chart, your progress chart. You also get the achievement chart. I never thought these would be really important until you see a 4-year-old get really excited about having a reward chart. You additionally get some posters. This might be a little bit too big for the video, but it's a big, massive fold-out poster that you can imagine hanging in your homeschool room. It's kind of hard to get it all in there, but you get the big one, and then also you get the same thing here as well, but for the smaller letters. Ton of content you get with this curriculum. Including that, you get a nice little box with all your lesson cards. You also get your phonics flashcards as well. There's a ton of things in here. We're going to go ahead and talk about each and every one of these things. You get your early reader books, the Lizard Lou, which is the rhymes in old and new, and then also your rhyming alphabet short stories. And because we know we're busy parents, we always forget our bag going into the grocery store. You can also get yourself an All About Reading bag to carry it around if you're going to your co-op, if you're taking this on the road. Always a nice little thing to showcase what curriculums you end up using. So through the magic of editing, we're now back to our teacher's manual. This is what is going to be guiding you most of the time. With every type of curriculum that you end up picking, especially with the All About Reading curriculums that I've had a lot of experience with, you as the teacher will be, this will be the base of where you're going to be. So let's go ahead and just take a look at what you're seeing. Nice little letter here from Marie telling you can do it. I always like that positive reinforcement. So let's go ahead and take a look at the contents. Now, as you notice, you'll notice right out of the bat, this is broken up into 1, 2, and a third section here with an appendices at the back. Why the sections are important is that you're going to first initially introduce capital letters to your child, followed by lowercase, and then finishing up with the actual phonetic sounds. Now, I found this to be a little confusing to do this because I noticed with the All About Reading curriculums, they like to introduce just the sounds straight away as opposed to starting with the uppercase letters. So what I would actually, if I were to give you advice at home, to break up this curriculum on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or type of a 3-day cadence where you introduce the capital letter, you then introduce the lowercase letter, and then you finish up with the sound of the letters. I felt that that would be a better flow, especially since there are 78 lessons. And if you can imagine you're doing like one a week, you're going to have to do a little bit faster because that's going to take over a year and a half, if you could imagine doing that. So you kind of want to probably condense this down probably within a year, especially if you're talking about a preschooler, 3, 4, 5, maybe even a 6-year-old if just getting into early reading skills. You may want to break up this and actually start to piecemeal it along the way. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like. So let's go ahead and start with the fact that my children are wonderful and have built me some beautiful bookmarks here for Christmas. We're going to start with the capital letter G, and let's see what lesson 7 kind of gives you. Great thing with All About Reading curriculums is they tell you right up front what you need to have. What do I need to have together? What do I need? What are the materials that I need? And you can go ahead and go to your shelf, pull that information, use your great fancy children's made bookmarks to bookmark everything for the day, and you can go right into it. So right here they tell you, okay, what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be singing the alphabet song, which is listed at the back of the book. So I think it's To Mary Had a Little Lamb. Singing your alphabet, pretty normal. You're going to need your Zig Zag Zebra book, which we'll show in a few minutes here. You're going to have your craft for the capital letter G, and then you're going to have, this is the big one, on page 195. You will want to probably bookmark this, and I have already bookmarked it right here, which is an appendice page, which is going to give you a number of ideas on what to do with that letter for that day. And a lot of these are hands-on crafting activities. You know, using macaroni or spaghetti, or going to the fridge and finding your magnetic letter, using clay. And you can use these as guides. You can use these as inspiration if you want to do something else. You're going to be referencing this a lot. So as you can see, I already have my page already listed in there to help you. That is the start of the lesson. Moving on. Here, you're going to get a little bit of an activity to do here. This is a play stand up or sit down. So sit on the floor. I'll say 2 words. If these 2 words rhyme, you go ahead and stand up. So a nice little activity to get those kids moving. They're preschoolers, they want to move. Let's go ahead and get them moving while they're also learning, you know, various word combinations. So they don't want to leave you out in the wind. They're going to give you some rhyming pairs. So obviously you can use this book to help guide the play, to guide the enjoyment. And then they obviously will tell you to finish up on reading a poem or a short story. As I kind of said, is you want to kind of bundle this through the week. And so you'll then cut to lowercase g, and you see very much the same activities that you can do here as well, with another activity that you can do with your child. Then you'll come out here and go to your next one, which is the phonetic sound of G, which is right here. And again, you have the same level of activities, and then more activities to do here. I've noticed they are a little bit more of a progressively more complicated as you move through. So if you are doing that kind of jumping, it may be a little bit more challenging up front. So maybe you might want to consider doing the lowercase, uppercase, and then finishing with the phonetic sound. Whatever works well for you or for your learner, feel free to kind of mix and mash with this curriculum, whatever fits well for you. I have kind of an accelerated reader, and so I felt like going 1 lesson at a time was a little slow for her, but obviously for your child, it might be a little different. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the first thing, which is the Zig Zag Zebra book. And with All About Reading curriculum, you'll always find that there's a lot of material here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So they want you to read this poem out loud. So if we head to the letter G, we'll see a nice, big, beautiful artwork. That's the one thing I love about these books, is that there's some really, really, really nice artwork associated with this. And it's really just kind of an alliterative story, about 3 or 4 pages that you can read. I like to read it multiple times. One of the things that I like to do with my reader was to actually read the stories, couple stories that came before it, just to kind of having her remember that these letters are going in order. So like, you know, E, F, and then we'll read G again. And so we can kind of remind ourselves of what the letters that we learned before. And obviously here's the next letter that we're going to be learning. And so I would very often we'll just read it once or twice. Once at the beginning, we would do our activities, maybe read it again halfway through. It's very short. You can read it in about a minute or so, and then maybe read it once more. And obviously ask your child to, you know, engage with the reading, engage with the artwork and the images, see what they see, you know, use it as kind of like a fun and engaging material. So that would be the Zig Zag Zebra book. Next is have your child do the craft on the craft sheet. And that's where you're going to go ahead and get your My Book of Letters, which is the additional book that comes with this. This is the activity book. So you open up to the page G, and then you can see, oh, this unbelievable, beautiful artwork that my daughter has done here. We tend to do this together. I always draw the sun. I always make the clouds while she is coloring everything else in. And then we go ahead and have fun. This is something we can do, and it's an enjoyable experience. She loves coloring. If you have a reader that doesn't like to color as much, this might be a little bit more of a challenge. But my learner loves coloring. It's one of her favorite things. Again, this is another opportunity for you to bring the Zig Zag Zebra book in to talk about the letter, to talk about what you're doing. So moving on to, there's always the coloring page. Then when you flip over, there's a craft action here on the back of the sheet. This is something you can do outside of this book. It's optional. I very often was doing this activity on the go, so I didn't have these materials with me. But this is something that you can do in addition to what you're doing. So obviously this is talking about the letter G. So color the letter G with the golden crayon. You can do that here on this page, or you can have a separate activity that does this. Make some seaweed by cutting green construction paper and then put some sand over it. Kind of a fun activity surrounding the letter G. You can really just do whatever inspires you, but I love how they give you ideas, because a lot of times when we're homeschooling parents, it can be difficult to come up with an idea, you know, how to, you know, get the education out of this. Moving on to the activity, obviously we talked about the sit down. Let's go ahead and hop to the lowercase letter G and see what they do here. So in this lowercase letter G is when they begin to call out the second book in this series, which is the Lizard Lou book, which is a rhyming stories, old and new. And what's really cool about this is that, again, more beautiful artwork. They have these wonderful poems that are centered around things that have that letter. So obviously a goose or a gardener. They kind of like identify words that identify to that letter so that the reader can start to associate with that. Also, within the reading, they're not expected to read this. You are reading this to them, but you can obviously have them point out anytime they see a capital letter G or a lowercase letter G. That's a fun little activity you can do as well while you're reading these fun little poems. So they call out basically what you'd like to do here. There's another craft sheet that you can do at the end, and I'll show you that one as well. And then again, the elusive page 195 that they always have you come back to and keep doing activities. I'll go ahead and show you the activity here on the back end, which is letter G, lowercase letter G. Let's see if Matt remembers this thing here. So we have, again, another coloring page. So if you want to do more coloring, you can as well. There's the activity here that they help you with. And then there's an activity here where they have the letter G, more of a script style, G, and then more of like a print cursive style. So you kind of having your learner see the G in different ways that they would see it in writing. And then go ahead in here and circle those letters. Simple activity, not too complex, fairly easy. And a little bit more of another activity here as well. And I believe this backpack is for lesson 33 as well, so they call this out in the book. So obviously you're doing a lot of hopping between these, so you're going to want to have all these materials readily available. One thing that I don't have here is the puppet. So there's a puppet, which is a zebra, and his name is Ziggy. And there's a lot of like puppet play, so you can go ahead and, if you have like a hand puppet at home, you can use that as an alternative. And there's a lot of like puppet talking. So they're talking to the puppet and you play games and word games and structured word games with this. And that is like the activity that you end up doing with the puppet. And that is laced through the entire curriculum. So there's a lot of kind of puppet activities. Moving to the next level, which is the sound of G. Let's see if I can find it quickly here. So we have the sound of G, lesson 59. Again, the same type of thing. You're going to read more poems out of the Lizard Lou book, and then you're going to be identifying in the activity book. And then you'll come back to the Sound of G activity, so which is deeper into your My Book of Letters. Down here at lesson 59, centered around the Sound of G, and this is an activity. What's cool about it, a lot of these pages are perforated, so you're able to tear these out and use them. So you can imagine your learner here getting some dexterity skills with some scissors, getting a little bit of glue, obviously very focused with the glue play. I do not want that on the nice table. And then they go ahead and put some glue and then glue the picture that has the letter G at the beginning. So the train obviously wouldn't, but the goat, the gun, and the game would. And additionally, some additional sound matchup helping you, game, gun, goat, train. So you have the answers behind. So when you cut these out, you'll have them on the back as well. And again, more activity, they can flip it over, identify those letters, and go ahead and make the right decision. Now finally, you have your final lesson. Thing that is periodically called out in the teacher's manual is to come to the cards, and you get a number of cards available here, and I think about 15 or so lessons call them out. And what happens is, maybe I get that on the camera, you can see the lesson numbers are listed there. So right up at front, when you start doing it, you'll do 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll do the cards in those lessons, and 6, and then all of a sudden there's this big jump, and you don't use it these cards again until lesson 21. So you're going to use it real close up front, and then obviously you won't use it for a while. But here's a good example. So lesson 5, nice little sticky note here. And so what we're doing here is we're just saying, well, what is going on here? What word are we doing? So this is obviously, I think it's a fan. We're just talking about, I think, different letters. I think here, a van, a bone. Basically, it's an activity that is called out in the book, and you are then showing these flashcards to your learner, and they're answering certain questions. What sound does this word sound? Show me. Point to the letter. The picture that has the sound for the letter that we're learning. And that kind of goes all the way to the end, and then right here at the very end, when you get to the phonics, you get a nice level of flashcards that show you the lowercase letter and obviously a picture that helps you with that. So here we have the letter A, and it has apple. This is an activity that my daughter and I do a lot on, which is when we say a word or whatnot, we always repeat that sound, bat. I can be over here, cow. And so she really gets that idea that each and every one of these letters has its own sound, and that this word, this cow, has that sound that we're learning. So great little bit of flashcards that you can come back to, especially when you get into the phonics section if you want to do a little bit of visual work. And it comes with a nice box here as well for you to store it. I don't let my daughter play with these cards because I want to keep them in order, not have them explode and disappear. So this is obviously something that goes up on the shelf and is protected from free play. So that was the All About Reading pre-reading curriculum. Now from my standpoint, this is a large curriculum. It's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of activity. If you're a parent out there who has that 3-year-old, 4-year-old, 5-year-old who's looking for structure, craves structure, wants a curriculum. We know there's a lot of people who say, oh, we don't want to do curriculums at younger age. Sometimes having curriculums work for those learners. And if you have a learner that really wants a curriculum, and they want that structure, and they want that play, and they want to have those activities, this will work for you. It's a large curriculum. It's $120, more on the expensive side, but this could carry you through those preschool years, those 4-year-old, 5-year-old years. As you begin to hit into your first reading curriculum, you go ahead and do those activities. I like this for parents who maybe need a little bit of help, especially if you're first-time homeschoolers and you're looking for something to help guide you through that education. This might be a good option for you. As I said in the top-down view, there's a little bit of that structural issue where I thought it was a little bit long, having those uppercase letters and lowercase letters kind of split apart. I almost want to combine those or just go straight to the phonics section. I like teaching the phonics a little bit early so that you can kind of mix and match. And then what's great about homeschooling is you can do anything that you want to do. So from my standpoint, this is a fun curriculum for any family who's looking for a little bit of structure and a little bit of help on the first time homeschooling. So I hope this curriculum review helped. There's links down below. Feel free to like and subscribe on the YouTube channel, and we'll see you guys next time.